we see that they tried their level best for a prisoner swap between Ukraine and Russia, and 2 rounds of such talk had happened. They initially proposed that one day they might sit down, the American president with Vladimir Putin in Turkey to understand where this escalation could end. As you know, this war had gone on for 3.5 years. But however, let's focus on this cooperation summit. It was, of course, attended by Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni and Libyan Prime Minister Abdul Hamid Dibé. Gentlemen, I'll go to both of you, but I want to understand how you see this cooperation summit. As countries are moving away from major powers and they're uniting amongst themselves, second world nations, third world nations, they're uniting amongst themselves and they're trying to figure out how they could tap into energy exploration and, of course, to understand seismic survey across the Mediterranean zones. We know that in Cyprus, it's a very earthquake-prone region. And not only so, we've seen earthquakes happening verily across that entire region as well as Russia. We've seen what had happened in Kamchatka region. A 8.8 magnitude earthquake had taken place. Right. I'll go with Mohammad Rashid Alam Bhuiyan. Please give me your contribution.
So like the regional cooperation and like the regional, as you said, the Istanbul conference. So I think it's a good step in terms of like Turkey has a bigger role in terms of like the Ottoman, and they have a huge role in the global politics, say for centuries. So now, they have a huge role in terms of like the conflicting zones, like Libya, as you said, like and the Mediterranean zones. So which is now we have seen lots of conflict engulfing there. So and also the crisis at the moment that unfolded in Russia and Syria as well. So where we had seen a huge role of Turkey, and Recep Tayyip Erdogan also lost his credibility through the handling the Syrian issues, like the topple down of Bashar al-Assad and yes, that was going on at the moment in Syria. So I think, as you said, like Turkey is in huge amount of pressure, like to assert his credibility in this term. But I think the negotiation and the cooperation in terms of energy, in terms of other issues, like they have the armament and disarmament is also a good issue. I think like in terms of the Libya insurgency at the moment is like since the fall of Gaddafi, the country is in complete chaos and conflict, and there is no central authority has established in Libya. So I think if Turkey and other countries like UAE also have a greater role in the current ongoing crisis in Libya, as we've seen. So I think Libya needs some sort of stabilities, and I think most of this conflict actually controlled from the outside sources, like as we've seen in Syrian conflict as well. So Syria's conflict also maximum influence from the outside influences. So I think if Turkey is, honestly, they think about like regional cooperation, regional stability is important, and then they should actually, disarmament, taking steps for disarmament in the Libyan region, and also helping to establish a central government authority, how then the regional established. Like the Libyan zone is also very much relevant with what's going on in terms of international migration, illegal migration, trafficking. Yes. So there's so many issues, and Europe also have a biggest stake in that regards as well. So I think if this regional cooperation, if it is successful, then there's a possibility of like some sort of stability in this Mediterranean zone through that cooperation. Yeah.
Myanmar ends emergency rule ahead of December elections. The military junta official lifted a 4-year state of emergency, while Senior General Min Aung Hlaing installed himself as the acting president. Critics has, of course, said that the vote is a sham. It's set to take this place in December of this year. But I want to come back to Bangladesh as we arrive at the end segment of our program. You see, we had a revolutionary government or a revolutionary act that happened last year in this very month, August 5th. It's just approaching day after tomorrow. But we understand that Bangladesh still has no direct timeline, or there's only just a stipulated timeline of next year's February for an election. I'll come to both of my commentators here today. I know that the city in Dhaka is facing a mass rallies today as well in support of what has happened a year ago. And of course, I would like to thank our negotiators who were negotiating this tariff deal in America, Khalilur Rahman, as well as Mr. Bashiruddin, who had helped to bring it down to 20%. But we need proper governance. We need people in this parliament, every day that goes on, this parliament remains empty. The call for an election is so much more important to understand where communities and circles alike in Bangladesh can survive and thrive. I will go to both of my commentators. First to Mr. Rashid Alam Bhuiyan. How do you see our matter in regional geopolitics?
Thank you so much. So transition to, we are in the now stage of transition to democracy, and I know in democracy, the election, free and fair election is very important. So what happened in our case, like although election give a security of like a legal government who will be in the power or in the parliament, but what happened, like this parliament become a dictatorship.
Yes.
So that's the biggest risk we are facing. Like although we have a transition to democracy since 90s, then we crumbled in 2008. Since 2008, we do not have any meaningful elections. So, like I mean, even the election has been used for like a, I mean, to get a fake legitimacy of the government by using the constitutional order, something
Yes.
like that. So I think the basic problems now we have with the constitution, with the rules and regulation, which can make a government, like a elected government, a dictator. So that's how we need to figure out the clause, figure out the section of the constitution which can turn a democratic elected government into a dictator. So that's how it's very important before going to election to figure out the controversial issues or figure out the important legislation and the important reforms to take in place by in this institution, which needs to be built up, which need to be accountable, which need to be very transparent in their affairs of dealing the domestic politics. So that's why now, I mean, we as you said, that we still have to have a fixed date for the election, but the progress that we are making, the interim government making in terms of reforms and also the constitutional reforms, also the institutional reforms is very important. Otherwise, if we make a quick election, a democratic government may come and they will again turn to a mode of dictatorship, turn to a one-party dictatorship, something like this. So we want to see Bangladesh is truly a democratically progressed country with a lot of accountable and constitutionally driven, constitutionally elected constituted bodies who can really prosper, who can really give us a true taste of democracy. That's why these reforms is taken place, and I think interim government is in the right direction to holding the election before after conducting these reforms. Yeah.